Good morning, my name is Marie Gallo and I am here in beautiful Sun Valley and I want to share with you a recipe typical from Belgium. This is called chou-fleur au gratin and in English translate cauliflower au gratin. So today we are going to do the cauliflower and this is a small one, it's about 2 pounds. And you can see it, it's really firm and really white. So the quality of the ingredient, it's what I'm looking for when I do a recipe. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna flip the cauliflower. This is a chef knife and I'm gonna use also a smaller knife and we are gonna clean up the greens. So what I do, I just take those big chunk of greens out of the cauliflower and you can use any knife you are comfortable with. So in my case, I use those both knives. So there we go. We're just cleaning this. And it's gonna take maybe 1 minute, max 2. And then if you have some green left over in it, don't worry about it, okay? It's not gonna mess your recipe at all. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to cut this little thing sticking out. Et voila, you have the cauliflower without the greens around it. Now we are going to boil or steam the cauliflower for about 10 minutes. You don't want to overcook the cauliflower. You just don't. We wanted to keep it firm. And now we are gonna work on our bechamel sauce. Now we are ready to make the bechamel sauce, so to speak. So what I have here, I have 1 ounce of butter, 2 ounces of flour, 20 ounces of milk, cold milk, but you can do it with warm milk if you want. And I have also 2 ounces of Gruyere. Emmental will do, Swiss Gruyere can do it as well. And salt and pepper and a little bit of nutmeg. We love nutmeg in our bechamel sauce. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the 1 ounces of butter, and this is what we call roux, R-O-U-X, blanc, white. Blanc means white. So I'm gonna make the butter to melt. So you wait until the butter is completely melt. Keep in mind we have our cauliflower cooking, steaming for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go a little bit higher and to melt the butter. Then I'll show you how it looks like. When the butter is melt, I'm gonna take it out of the heat. I don't like to mix my butter and my flour while on the heat. I don't like that. Some people might be able to do it. I never did, and I've been making bechamel sauce pretty much all my life. There you go. Here is the butter. It melts. So this is the result of, you just have pure butter. So I'm going to put the flour. This is 2 ounces of flour. There it goes. And I'm going to take it out of the heat, and I'm going to create what we call the roux, R-O-U-X. And it should be this. It looks like nothing. Don't be afraid. You're gonna be okay. So I'm gonna start pouring some milk. I always start pouring a little bit. My first pouring will be just a tiny bit, just enough to have all the butter, the flour together and create some kind of dough. You know the Play-Doh the kids play at school? It looks just like that. It really does. And there you go. I'm starting to get a consistency of what we're gonna have later. The bechamel sauce, there it is, see? But you don't want that because it's way too thick. So you just pour more milk and you keep stirring until you have enough bechamel sauce to pour over your cauliflower. Easy enough, isn't it? I grew up in Belgium, as you know, so this was really something. My parents were both Italian, you must know that. So I grew up with Belgian cuisine and mostly Italian cuisine. But when we had the Belgian cuisine, because my mom worked as a cook in a convent in Belgium, so she always brought some recipe that she never learned when she was a child, Belgian cuisine, and the bechamel sauce was part of it. We have another good recipe with bechamel sauce, and it's called chicon au gratin, meaning Belgium endive au gratin, just like the cauliflower, but instead of the cauliflower, we have Belgium endive roll into French ham and pour with the bechamel sauce just the same way we're going to do the cauliflower. So there you go. Now I'm going to put my heat a little bit higher, so it's going to cook the butter, the flour, and the milk, and it's going to create that consistency who's going to be our bechamel sauce. There it goes. And this is what you want. You want this consistency. Okay, now we're going to season this bechamel sauce, and it's very easy. You need salt and pepper. And I do have my pepper mixed with the salt, 2 little pinch, and you can always taste. There it goes. I'm going to put, you don't have to do that, but I do. I'm going to put a little bit of Gruyere that I'm going to use at the end of the recipe, but I'm going to mix it also with the bechamel sauce. And it's not a secret, but I love nutmeg in the bechamel sauce. You won't find a bechamel sauce recipe in Belgium. I think France does the same thing without the bechamel, the nutmeg. Look at this. This is beautiful. I like it. So now a little bit of bechamel nutmeg. I have mine in powder already, but you can use the fresh one and just ground on top of it. So, and you just sprinkle. There you go. More. That's enough. And your bechamel sauce is ready. So there you go. After 10 minutes, you have a beautiful steaming cauliflower. We're gonna put in the Paris, so it's gonna go in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And what I'm gonna do though, and what I like to do, it's to put a little bit of, I have a little bit of butter in my plate here, not much, a little bit. And what I like to do, it's to pour a little bit of bechamel sauce on the bottom. There it is. You just cover your Paris. You don't have to, but I do, I like it. And we're gonna take the cauliflower and put it there in the middle, and you have a beautiful steamy cauliflower ready to go in the oven after I pour my bechamel sauce. So there it goes, very easy. You're gonna pour your bechamel sauce, and I do like to cover the whole thing. There it goes. I like it. I really like this recipe, and you can use this recipe with meat, not so much with fish, but you could, but I don't use it with the fish. Mostly with beef and pork. Really good with that. What I like to do as well is to put, this is a side dish, and I like to serve it with mashed potatoes because you will have some leftover sauce there. You will have enough. And it's for 3 to 4 people. Side dish. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to just pour the Gruyere on top of the cauliflower. There it is. This one is just a Swiss Gruyere, but any Gruyere will do it. Emmental, Swiss Gruyere, Comté, it doesn't matter, as long as it's in the family of Gruyere. And here is your cauliflower ready to be in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, now it's been 10 minutes since our cauliflower is in the oven. I'm going to show you how it looks like, but you can have it less or more. And I am going to put my broiler, and we're going to keep it for 1 to 2 minutes max, really max. So here it is. It looks just like this. See how that little crust already, the brown, and it's bubbling and stuff. So this is what you want to see after 10 minutes. I'm gonna put it back and I'm gonna put the broil, but keep an eye on that because as you know, when you broil anything, it goes really fast. Et voila! Now you have a beautiful crust, some sauce around it. By the way, a little history with the bechamel sauce. Actually, the country of origin, it's really Italy, and the region was Tuscany, and you can check it out because Wikipedia will tell you that. And it was brought to France by the Marquis of Louis de Bechamel in the 17th century. So the bechamel, it's kind of the motherhood of a lot of sauce in France and Belgium. Thank you for joining me in Murray's Kitchen on Eye on Sun Valley. See you next time. Au revoir.